What's good, YouTube? So today I got another video for you guys. Sadly, it's not about the Can-Am, but it is an install video, and it involves off-roading a little bit. So I wanted to show you guys my new ride. If you've been following me for a bit, you know that last year, a year and a half ago, I bought a Nissan Titan to be able to tow this car. And after having it for that amount of time, I realized I wasn't really towing, and I'm using more of the motorhome. So I used to have a Jeep. I really missed the Jeep, so we went out and got this one. So I got a Jeep Gladiator, the Willys edition. Nice little color to it. It did come with these aftermarket wheels, but I dislike how it sags in the front. So we're gonna change that today. I think I got the truck 2 days ago actually, and I love it, man. Really miss my Jeep, but we're gonna fix this sagginess in the front. It's just the way they come. It's all stock, like I mentioned, but it has the 35-inch wheels, aftermarket. It came that way. Not my style, but we're gonna run with it for a little bit before we get some better wheels. So the upgrade we're gonna be installing is this leveling kit. I actually found it. It's Teraflex, brand new. I found it on OfferUp for 60 bucks. You know, us people that always want to be upgrading, that's the first thing we do. Hit up Marketplace, hit up OfferUp, and see what we can find. But it was a good find. I think it goes for about a little over $100, and it's just a leveling kit. If you're not familiar with it, it comes with two pucks, 1 inch and a 1/2 inch. I am gonna be running both. You have the option to either run one or the other. And it also comes with some bump stops, 1 inch. Hardware has this special tool to hold the nut while you tighten these bolts. I shouldn't be too hard. I am gonna go ahead and do one side, and I'll do a detailed one on the other side for you guys. Pretty easy if you ever worked on cars before. This did come with all the instructions. The guy said he ended up going with the lift. I don't plan on lifting it just yet. So we're just gonna do the leveling kit. Some instructions here. So I do want to measure this out. I already did before I started recording, so I kind of know the measurement, and I had gotten 37/1/8 from this bottom part right here. That's what I was measuring from. And it's probably hard to tell with the camera angle. I brought out a level and I put it so I can get the exact number, and it measured out to 37/1/8. So that's the before. We could do a front end as well. I didn't do the front end, and we'll do it to this line right here in the front bumper, just so it's easy to see. And that is at 21/7/8, right under the 22 inches. But yeah, let me get this installed and get it going. You will need some jack stands, and I do have 2 jacks, Harbor Freight jacks. If you know, I'm not a mechanic. I just like to work on my stuff. I got 2 jacks. I got like 4 jack stands. And I think that's the main tools to be able to get this done, because we are gonna take both wheels off and let that axle drop, that front diff. But let's get started. All right, so I'm pretty sure you guys know how to remove a tire. I'm just gonna go through the process. This is the passenger side. I do have my jack ready to lift it up, and I have my jack stand ready. So as soon as I lift this one up, I already lifted up the other side. And if you don't have any power tools, you would want to loosen these up first, because then it's gonna be too hard when it's in the air. That's why it's not taking them off. Need some charge. If you have the stock wheels, you won't have this style. These ones are like the locks. Comes with a special key for them. Get this out of the way. iPhone. Set your jack stand wherever you feel comfortable with, because we will be removing the floor jack. Once you have your jack stand placed, we're gonna lower the floor jack to remove it. Let it drop slowly. And then just double check, make sure they're on there, and we're good. All right, let's get started. So I already did the other side. It's pretty easy. The main tools you're gonna need, let's see, size 18, size 15. With the 15 is just to release this bracket that holds the brake lines and the ABS sensor. The 18, you'll need a wrench. 2 18s actually, because one to hold the nut and one to remove the bolt. So I'm using my impact wrench and the wrench. And let's see, where do we get started? Actually, let's do the easy one. We're gonna take off the 15. That's right here. This is just to release that, so there's no tension when the axle drops. I'm doing one side at a time. That way, I think it's easier, just because it's a little bit more work, because you do it one side at a time. The other way is to drop your whole differential down, but it puts more pressure on your vent hoses, on your wires, and your brake line, because it lowers more. And now that we have that one off, we're gonna take off our shock. And what we could do is turn the tire to get some clearance right here. Have it on backwards. So if you feel like there's too much tension here, it's not gonna release. And what you could do is put your jack, just to put a little pressure don't know if you saw that bolt move, but it has a sweep point. There we go. Now we're gonna turn this the other way. And let's get the sway bar link off. Alright, so I'm gonna be removing this one by hand instead, because I don't have enough room for my impact. Luckily with this one, it locks on itself. The rear nut. As you can see, this little flap there that's moving. That's what locks it in place. I did attempt to remove this one, but it wouldn't let me have enough clearance to pull it out this way. So right now it's loose from the top. I was trying to avoid using the manual wrench just because I like my electric stuff now. And so I got this one. Once it's loose, that one works great. This is the one that holds it in the back. So now this can move out of this spot. And let's lower that axle or differential. So the instructions do mention to loosen up your upper control arm and lower control arm. I feel like the way I'm doing it doesn't really put that much stress on those rubber bushings, because that's really kind of what you're protecting. But this route, you're not really dropping the axle all the way to the floor. That's right. There we go. A little struggle there. The other side for sure, driver's side, is a lot easier. So I got the spring off, and it also has this rubber bushing. This is almost like a guide. So you're gonna use this. Don't throw it away. And then we're gonna get our 1 inch and our 1/2 inch. The 1/2 inch goes on top, and it has these little guides as well. So it matches up like this. And then the guides from that bushing, rubber bushing we had, they go there, if you can see. And then you can place this, it won't be in the correct spot, but it'll hold right there so that you can bring the spring back, and you're gonna put an extension here eventually. So the extension is gonna go right here with the screw and stuff. But for now, let's get this spring back on. And it doesn't have to go on correctly just right now. See, it has a sweet spot. Minimal force is being used, so don't get scared. Now we have to align these. So let me get the camera real quick. Let's turn on this flash. And on the top here, it's really hard to show you guys, but those guides that stick up are gonna land in there. And then the other thing, once you align those, you want to make sure that your spring, let's see, you see this spot right here where the spring ends? This has to fully be right here. So let me turn it for now, like that. That's the perfect spring placement. That's how it needs to go. And just make sure you place it that way. I'm gonna work on aligning these at the top, so bear with me. So I don't know if you heard that. I just turned them a little bit, and they, with the little pressure they have, they popped right in place. But now down at the bottom, our spring kind of twisted as we were doing that. So a good thing to do is hold up here, put a little pressure down on the differential, and then while you're holding your pucks up here, you turn your spring. So little pressure there, and it's your spring at the end is where we need it. So this is all set. So once you have all that set, you're gonna grab your little hockey puck extension. The instructions tell you to put it in the spring, zip tie it, but it easily fits in here, so why do all that? So you put your hockey puck, this is the bolt, put your bolt there, and usually I just sit it here on the side. Now let's get our nut. Your nut goes in here. This is pretty much your holder, and you have to go through, actually this side might be, let me do it without the nut. I don't want to drop the nut in there. Okay, so this one, like I said, the passenger side will be probably your more complicated one because of the room you have to work with. So for sure this one is the one that has to come off, because then you won't have clearance for this. So you gotta be careful so you don't drop it in there. You go in kind of at an angle, and as you're putting this one in, I can see it from the hole where the bolt's gonna go. So I can see it right there, it's aligned. And I'm just gonna start it by hand, just so it catches a few threads. And if you don't have an electric wrench, you're gonna have to do this by hand with your ratchet. Or I meant an electric ratchet. If you don't have one, this is gonna be a fun task for you. Now let me just make sure I place this properly. There we go. So we got that all tightened up. Luckily there is room here for your hands to be able to feel around with this one. This is all set. Now we can move on and install our shock bolt and our sway bar bolt. So to do that, I'm gonna have to raise the differential a little bit. And as you're lifting it, let me move you over to this side. You want to make sure that your shock is aligning in between those brackets or shock nail. So we're getting close. If you're by yourself, you keep an eye out there. So a few more pumps. If you align it just right, your bolt just slide right through it. There we go. Put our nut in the bag. And then now it's time for our sway bar, which I wasn't paying attention to, and it kind of locked a little bit. Let's put our bolt there, and this one goes in the back if you recall. And grab our number 18. Just hold it in the back while they get started. So this one just gets it started. It won't fully tighten it in place. And now we're ready to tighten everything back up. So you grab your manuals, or your manual. Luckily it has your bolt specs. And let's see. Your torque specs will be, for the shock bolt, it's 74 foot-pounds. Right here at the top. Your sway bar link is 59. 59. Your sway bar link is 59 foot-pounds, as you can see right here and right here. And also, if you were to have removed your track bar, or loosened up your track bar, your upper control arm, your lower control arms, the track bar torque specs is 52 foot-pounds. And your upper control arm has 41 foot-pounds. And this one is at the differential. And then to the frame, it's 37 foot-pounds. So read through your manual. It gives you some useful information. It is an easy job. It looks involved, but it really isn't. Mine's just, the way I did it is not like the manual says to do it. I feel, like I mentioned, that if you do it single-sided, if you do one side at a time, you don't have to really loosen much up, because there's not a whole lot of tension. You're doing one side at a time, so the tension is minimal. There still is, but it's not as risky. So let me put everything back together and we'll get our measurements. I'll drive it back and forth, let it loosen up, and we'll get those measurements. So one last thing I did want to mention, depending on the model you have, this may differ a little bit. As you can see, these differentials are somewhat electronic now. So if you are dropping the whole differential, make sure you have enough slack. You may want to disconnect this wire here. And then even if you need more slack, removing the plastic wire retainer thingies. But yeah, overall it's an easy job. Let me get these tires back on and I'll show you guys what it looks like. So I drove the Jeep back and forth a few times just to let it sit. It does look a lot better, but let's get our measurements. I believe the other one was at 37.18 or 37. I will go back and check, but we are, let me make sure my level's leveled. Let me come on this side. almost the same spot I took the measurement. We are at 38 3/4. 38 3/4. So for sure an inch, a little over an inch. Maybe it has to sit a little bit more. As I drive it around, it'll go down a bit, but we're at 38 3/4. So if you recall, we had done the front end from about right here. Alright, let's get this one. This one we won't need the level since we can come right up next to it. This one was 21 7/8 at this line. And it looks like we are now at 23 5/8. 23 5/8. We can argue it's at 23 3/4, but I'm gonna call it 5/8. So we did go up. I'll put the measurements on the screen, the before and after. But I think we did a good job. It looks really good. I can for sure tell the difference. This is about the angle I showed you guys before. It looks nice and level. My driveway is at an upright, but very small upright. And it looks nice now. Not bad. But hopefully this video is useful for you guys. My channel was mainly Can-Am related, but I always liked working on my Jeep. I built my Jeep, and it was the first toy I ever built. So this one may be the next one. We'll be posting some videos about the Jeep and for sure about the Can-Am. So if you stick around, you'll see the build on this Jeep Gladiator. But as always, thanks for watching. See you guys on the next one.